Hi, Curtis Armstrong here. I want to pull on your coat about something here. Back in 1976, I wrote Harry Nilsson a fan letter. It wasn't just a fan letter. What it was, believe it or not, was an offer to write his biography. Now, I had never written anything. I was a penniless actor at this time, certainly never been published. And in the unlikely event of Harry actually reading this letter, there was no reason for him to answer it. But answer it he did. I still have that letter. Well, for months afterwards, I just sat at my typewriter and pounded out answers to the letter that Harry had written me, but nothing seemed right. As time passed, I actually felt embarrassed I'd even made the offer. I mean, what was somebody like me doing asking Harry Nilsson if I could write his biography? Even then, though, I was sure that I was the only person on the planet who could do him justice, aside from him. But time passed, and if anything, I became even a bigger fan of Harry Nilsson's. I didn't try to write him again. I figured just loving him was enough. I became a pretty well-known actor after time, and actually wound up answering some letters not unlike the letter I had sent to Harry. And it was as if I had Harry himself in a bathrobe with a cigarette and sunglasses leaning over my shoulder the whole time saying, "Come on, man, answer the damn letter." More years passed, and Harry died, leaving a Nilsson-sized hole in my heart, which is not filled in. I never met him. It bothered me a little that I never did answer Harry's letter. So, in a way, that's what I'm doing now. Now, recently, there's been a lot of talk about why, after all these years, and despite all of the reasons, musical and historical, and in every other way, Harry Nilsson is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And that's why I'm sending out this message. Now, I have no connections to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and chances are you don't either. But if there is anyone from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame within the sound of my voice, people, what does one of the preeminent singer-songwriters of his generation have to do to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Die? He's already done that. His CV is so vast that just touching on it almost does it a disservice, but I'm going to touch on it anyway. 2 Grammy Awards for Best Male Vocal. Everybody's Talking, Fred Neil, and Without You, Ham and Evans, Badfinger. Definitive readings of both of those songs. He has a handful of top 40 hits such as Me and My Arrow, Coconut, Jump Into the Fire, Daybreak, Without You, songs that make up one of the great, unique, and eccentric playlists of the 60s and 70s. His songs have been covered in the thousands by artists such as Little Richard, Three Dog Night, Cilla Black, Herb Alpert, The Turtles, The Yardbirds, The Walkmen, Amy Mann, Ringo Starr, John Lennon, whose song, Old Dirt Road, was a Nilsson-Lennon co-write. Harry wrote songs with Phil Spector. He wrote songs with John Maniscalco. His songs have been featured in films by directors as disparate as John Schlesinger, Robert Zemeckis, or Robert Altman. Harry wrote the whole score for Altman's Popeye, 1981. Martin Scorsese, not to mention Otto Preminger. Harry wrote the score for his film Skidoo, which included Harry singing the entire credits at the end of the film. It's actually probably the best moment in the film. And how many people can claim to have scored an entire season of a television show using his voice as his only instrument? Harry did that. Courtship of Eddie's Father. People, Let Me Tell You About My Best Friend. Harry conceived of the story and wrote the entire score of the first ever animated, musical, feature-length, made-for-television film ever. The Point, now a classic. Paul McCartney and John Lennon in 1968 famously were asked who was their favorite American singer and who was their favorite American group. And their answer to both questions, Nilsson. He was a brilliant, larger-than-life American original, and he deserves to be remembered for a lot more than just partying with some of the most famous people in the world. I mean, if he were alive today, iconoclast though he was, I think he would appreciate the gesture. And so would millions of his fans, famous and not. So what do you say? Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Let's do this. Let's put Harry into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame where he belongs. And that's it. Thank you, and good night.